Sucka Lo.
First things first, you will need your PNGs. Here are the ones I used. Feel free to pause the video to screenshot. Once you have your clips, position them to where you want your animation to take place. That includes the surroundings. Add whatever you want to make your edit feel more lively. I got the starting pose to start near the left part of the screen, then the final pose being near the table. Next, I just added the phone over the table with minimal spacing. To remove the background of your image, select first the image, then Effects. Look for the Chroma key effect. Once you've selected it, you have to choose the color you will want to remove. In this case, it's white. Once you select the color, it will give you the option to adjust the threshold. Slide it right to remove more of the background and left to add it back. Once you remove the background of all your images and position them as so, we can start the animation process. What I did to animate is move the final two poses farther down the timeline for later adjustment. Then move the second layer about half a second further than the first pose. Add each pose about half a second later than the other to ensure a smooth, easy-to-follow animation. Once you have your clips in the timeline adjusted, delete the pose before the start of the other. Like so. Make sure to close any tiny gaps in between each pose for better results. You should end up with something like this. Now, to achieve that buttery smooth effect, click on your first image and go to Move and Transform. Then add a keyframe to the beginning and end of your first clip. Move the character slightly back with the pad feature shown. Then go and click the graph button. This is my recommended graph for this animation. Copy the keyframes and graphs for the rest of the poses, except the last pose that we put further down. Now for that last pose, instead of moving right, we're going to move it up into the place of the pose before it. Like this. This avoids making an animation for the arm completely. Now use the same graph I showed you before. Finally, use the other image of the phone without the handset on top. We're just going to move this up, along with the pose for our character. Add your keyframes, then move the clock up with the first of the two keyframes. Make sure both correspond with the keyframes from our character's pose. Add the same graph afterwards. Once you're done with that, you should end up with something like this.